Afternoon all. I mentioned to my friends in the Chess Cube Cafe about doing a video again on quality, time and space, which I may have touched on before, but one of the main things which impressed me in Kasparovs' book on how chess imitates life, or was it the other way around, was anyway these three factors about quality, time and material, and they can occur in life or in business. For example, you might invest to get higher quality manufacturing plant or something, so you'd lose material but you gain quality. And actually in engineering, if you were constructing something, you might choose lower quality materials which are cheaper, and you might gain time as well. So there's these three competing factors: quality, time and material. And gambits obviously reflect a willingness to lose material, and often for quality and time. Now the reason I'm more stimulated to sort of look at this again is because in a recent conversation it was actually kind of noted that actually it's very difficult to get more than two of these factors, because they are competing factors. So you can get quality and you can get time, but you can't get material. You'd be sacrificing material to get quality and time. And basically gambits are basically sacrificing material to get the quality and time. And maybe that's true of life or engineering. If you want better quality materials, you're going to have to spend more money, more material. So to get the quality, you lose material. So there's analogies that you can have two but you can't have three, which I'm not sure has been emphasized before anywhere on YouTube, or if I've emphasized it, or when I mentioned Kasparov was mentioning it. But they are competing factors, so that's a logical property, that you can't really go for all three, or at least very easily. Gain material, quality and time is quite a stunt. But when you willingly give up material with a gambit, you are getting quality and time. Now a lot of the more interesting gambits grab, in my view, a quality differential, often through the centre, because the centre of the chessboard, the pieces are more dynamic. They can often go in, more squares are covered. So gambits which actually give up material but seem to reinforce central control, like these two classic ones, the King's Gambit, they're basically using flank pawns like the F pawn or the C pawn, if you think about it, to undermine the opponent's control of the centre, so giving up a bit of material. But of course the Queen's Gambit is very, very difficult and damaging often if black tries to cling on to the pawn. So it's not a real gambit, the Queen's Gambit. So in that respect, the Queen's Gambit is the soundest gambit, because if it's accepted, you can often get quality and time, where the quality of these two is actually an implication of more central control. Because when you undermine, with the King's Gambit and it's accepted, often you have pawns on d4 and e4, and then your pieces can later come out very nice centrally. Your bishop can maybe capture on f4 later, and your pieces are striking across the centre. So for that material aspect, you've definitely gained quality and sometimes time. Time I'm a bit cynical of, as I've mentioned in the Chess Cube Cafe, because it really depends on how open the position is, how many exploitable targets there are in the position. If everything was about time, there's the centre counter gambit, not gambit, centre counter gambit would be totally unsound, unplayable, and Nimzowitsch really didn't like it because it lost time with the queen. E4, d5, ed, queen d5. But the thing is, black can often play solidly later with bishop f5, c6, and if black can have a solid position, he or she can afford to lose time. So time needs other factors to be more damaging or more advantageous. But we see in these gambits this basic formula, this three-pronged formula, which we could call the chess flux capacitor, basically. And I'll name this video the chess flux capacitor, I think. Quality, time and material. In the Russo Gambit. It's the same idea. It's like the King's Gambit notion that you can undermine the opponent's control of the centre, sometimes with a pawn gambit. So here f5 is being used. Smith-Morrow, this is more about time, because you're gaining a tempo when black takes on c3. You're getting a knight out with time, so you're losing material again. So that's what all these gambits have in common: the loss of material for quality and time, where time is made more effective with the presence of more exploitable targets. Quality is often leveraging greater control of the centre through the sacrifice. Okay, so two knights defence. That's, black's offering a c6 pawn here for a bit of time and maybe central control. Blackmar-Diemer Gambit. Here, white's offering the e-pawn for a bit of time maybe, and that is combined when you use the f-file. When you play f3, you're combining often with exploitable targets, because black would often castle on the king's side. So if you've got more f-file pressure, you've naturally got more exploitable targets on the king's side. F6, f7 might be targets later. So the time elements there is also combined sometimes with exploitable targets in some of these time examples. The From's Gambit, someone was saying, someone called Passwords yesterday, that often he's not only gaining material when playing white and people play the From's Gambit against him, but he gains quality later. And that's true, because actually, if the gambit can be defended, so you snatch the pawn on e5, white could end up with better central control after. So that's where the soundness of these gambits need to be factored in. But the soundness should be in the context, I believe, of time controls, because if you're playing like bullet or blitz chess, the soundness offers a way of getting pressure on the opponent, so they'll have to spend more time trying to defend accurately, when it's easier for you as the gambiteer to play the position, because you've got the quality and you've got the time on your side. So they might have the material, but there's the external factor then of the clock, having to face all the challenges to try and safely exploit the material without the quality and the time biting them. So these things, I would say, the grandmasters are not playing them, but what do the amateurs play on the internet? The amateurs are often playing blitz on the internet. So I say, think about these gambits with this chess flux capacitor in mind. You're getting quality, you're getting time. So even the From's Gambit, okay, that's more of the unsound ones, but Staunton Gambit, this is dangerous when you play e4 and they take it and you play f3 maybe, or knight c3 might be more accurate to avoid e5s from black. Budapest, someone's asked me to do a video of that recently. Again, another potentially dangerous gambit. When white plays d takes e5, he's loosening his control of the c5 square. Black's got either knight g4 or knight e4. I was going to do a video of that soon. Again, to reinforce this, chess flux capacitor idea. I think in a lot of positions, often actually, to progress your position, it's logical to give up material to get the quality and time boost, which will further break down the resistance of the opponents. It becomes a logical step often, I believe, in many positions. You see often in Alekhine games that the positional play culminates in a beautiful combination, and there's a reason for that, because the combination is pushing his position basically even further. Often, like Alekhines, classic games where, the king invaded on the dark squares, the prelude was a rook sack. So the quality and time elements came for the decisive combinational blow. But up to that point, if say Alekhine didn't sacrifice material, it would have been quite difficult to carry on with quiet positional manoeuvring. The combinational breakthrough is the final breaking point often, to break the opponent. So we're not just talking about opening gambits, like, later positional sacrifices and combinations are also reflecting this chess flux capacitor idea that you've got these three competing priorities: quality, time and material. So the Scotch Gambit, these are early basically positional sacrifices, all these gambits, often leveraging or trying to get more control of the centre, like again f5, trying to take white's pawn away from the centre. You know, the Latvian gambit, Blackburn Shilling gambit. Now that's a bit of a real trappy one actually. If white's taking on e5, then queen g5. Of course, the elephant gambit. We've done a video recently on the channel, which is great fun. And I was slightly put off yesterday. I got smashed twice, but my opponent yesterday in the morning bullet zone at Chescu, I look up his rating details and he was over 2800, and he was only like listed as 2200. So maybe, sometimes if you're playing someone very, very strong, even on bullet and blitz, then okay, there's potential for them, to completely refute your gambit and not be confused, not use any time on the clock. But you might have lost anyway, even with something more solid. I mean, the gambits I find are very, very dangerous, especially in bullet chess. And in blitz chess, I love some of these. Like the Albin Countergambit is one of my lovely pets. But really, I feel bad because people are saying about the Budapest. I should give that a go as well. Budapest. That's an early strike with e5. So the commonality, as I say, and I hope this video reinforces this chess flux capacitor idea, which I think is a beautiful idea, and it transcends other domains. Like in engineering construction, there's this trade-off between quality, time, and material. In life, quality, time, and material. Businesses might invest in their research and development to have higher quality products in the future. So they give up material for quality or time. They put more money in to get something quicker. So they're three competing priorities. Benko Gambit is a classic, undermining the centre with a gambit pawn, a wing pawn b5, give up the b pawn, get some higher quality pieces potentially. The bishop could be really dangerous on the diagonal. The b files could be good. The b file or the a file could be good for black. So you're getting that trade-off all the time. But it's not just the early positional sacrifices; it's the later ones, the combinatory blows where you've got a position. How would you finish off the opponent? Often it's a combination. What does a combination do? Often it's providing that final quality and time boost to make the defense impossible for the opponent. So I think that's interesting. And quality is not just about the center, of course. If there's a big hole on d5 fundamentally in the structure, then sometimes Kasparovs has shown you sacrifice the exchange to get a massive knight on d5. So you've mapped out the structure, the pawn structure, and where the pieces in theory would be more effective. And sometimes then the investments of material to optimize pieces around that structure is made a lot more logical, because it would be part logically of that strategic crush which is dictated by that pawn structure. So it's not just the center which can give a quality boost, it's structural weaknesses as well. So the Sveshnikov is an example. Not only is there a hole on d5, it's also a central hole though as well, a central grand hole for a knight. So we're combining sometimes structural weaknesses with centralization for the quality boost. But yeah, I like the idea of gambits, especially in the context of bullet chess, blitz chess, and even the club time controls. These are very dangerous sometimes for people who need, they're probably quite tired after work. I think for club chess, it could do with this revolution, and maybe this video can inspire more people to try out gambits. Just experience, even if you lose, just try and experience this basic flux capacitor idea that you're trading, you're trying to trade material for quality and time. Okay, thanks very much. Comments or questions on YouTube. Cheers.